You are back in the Cypher, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show.
Tonight we have with us Shaggy Flores. How you doing, Shaggy?
I'm alright.
Shaggy.
That's cool.
Indeed.
All right, so poet extraordinaire, got a CD, book, you know what I'm saying, posters, another book coming up. I mean, what's going on? What's up with you? I mean, what do you do? Tell us about yourself.
Just surviving. I'm better. My real name's Shaggy Flores, but everybody knows me as Shaggy, the non-poet, modern-day griot, New Yorican, Master Rican, bilingual, Spanglish-speaking, Afro-Taino, revolutionary, Santero poet from the Dark Souls Collective. Born in New York City, raised in the projects of Springfield, Massachusetts. And you know, this poetry thing is something I take serious. You know, I study it, I live it. You know, it's not just getting up on stage and just saying some poems. Right. You know, I'm a representative of my people. You know, I'm a cultural worker, and I believe that you should speak what you know. You know, speak the truth and live that life when you get off that stage. You know, don't just waste people's time getting up on stage saying things. Well,
quick question. I met you last year, and my first thing was because when you said Shaggy, we thought it was the reggae superstar. I'm like, he does poetry now? But where does the name Shaggy come from?
Well, I mean, I had that name before I even knew who he was or he was doing his thing. Yeah. But actually, it's, I used to be a dancer, house, hip hop, pop, and locking. And I used to have long hair. Yeah, I used to be thinner, you know. And that's how it was. I used to battle. I used to go to other cities with a crew, and we used to just battle people, go to New York, battle people in New York. And, you know, wherever I would dance, I had really long hair, so everybody knew me Shaggy. And eventually I got into poetry. Well, I've been writing all my life and doing poetry, but like seriously studying it and making moves. 95, Zulu Nation anniversary. I was in this room with some of the best Black and Latino poets coming out of that scene. Jessica Care Moore, Mums the Schemer, who's now in Oz, Mike Ladd, my man Bonafide, Sharif Simmons.
Bonafide is hot.
So those are the people who basically influenced me and basically pushed me to get more into poetry. And you know, the rest is history. I just kept performing, working on my craft, and you know, I travel all over now reading.
Really?
Hi, brother. You seem to be a man of the struggle. I feel you on that one. What do you see for the future of poetry? I mean, where would you like to take this thing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, right now, I'm part of the new generation of New Yorican poets. New Yorican poetry developed in the 70s at the New Yorican Poets Cafe. Basically, it was a large Puerto Rican contingent that wasn't being represented in other venues because of racism, you know, and other issues going on. So they formed their own collective called the New Yorican Poets, and they read at a place called the New Yorican Poets Cafe, which right now is probably the most famous poetry cafe in the world.
Yeah.
But out of that movement in the 70s, you know, other New Yorican poets started developing across the United States. You know, late 70s, all the way to mid 80s. Then the second generation came, which is us, which is from 90 to about now. And those people are like some of the most well-known Latino poets on the scene right now. Caridad de la Luz. You have Flaco Navaja from Universes. Mariposa, who was in the Americanos documentary, came out on HBO. My man Bonafide, he got his album, just came back from touring Chicago, Paris, Puerto Rico. And a whole collective, Tony Medina, who edited In Defense of Mumia. The list just goes on. And Willie Perdomo, they call him the next Langston Hughes. He has a book called Where Nickel Costs a Dime. So that's the new generation of New Yorican poets. And we travel, you know, we spread the gospel of New Yorican poetry, and we also let other people come in, you know, to this movement.
So you have an extremely extensive bio. We've been doing this seriously, you said, since what, 94? What would you consider your greatest accomplishment in poetry so far?
Wow. I would say my greatest, I wouldn't say I have one accomplishment, I have a couple, but my first is meeting my mentors, original New Yorican poets. I mean, growing up when I was small, my mom had this book, so I say I confiscated from her. It was the original New Yorican poetry book. And I actually got to mentor and become friends with a lot of the original New Yorican poets. Particularly my mentor, Luis Reyes Rivera. He's called the poet's poet. I mean, that's like the man when it comes to poetry. And, you know, he's somebody who I can call a friend. He's taught me a lot, taught me about this game, how, you know, the rules to this game. There's rules to poetry. People think, you know, this just getting up there, and there's rules. You just can't do certain things. You know, you have a responsibility to your community. I would say that's one of my accomplishments. The other one is, besides coming out with my book, is kids reading my writings and being influenced by those writings.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
And it being positive writings, you know.
Of course.
Even the negative things that happen in my life, people been able to learn from that. And that's why I'm going to start working on the next book, which is, it's going to be a novel. It's called Manteca, the autobiography of a revolutionary poet, or the autobiography of a New Yorican poet. And it's basically short stories about me growing up and people I've met and things I've done.
Well, that's real cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Right.
Want to definitely thank you for coming out. Enjoy you. Shaggy Flores, you're doing big things. All the best to you, man.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. Peace. Ache.
All right.
All right. Well, that was Shaggy Flores, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in the Cypher's Corner.